Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we have a very special story, a cozy English story at a B1 level, perfect for you to practice your listening and expand your vocabulary. The topic is something we can all learn from, what older people wish we knew. So find a comfortable spot, maybe grab a cup of tea, and let's begin. Once, in a quiet little town nestled among rolling green hills, lived a young woman named Clara. Clara was always in a hurry. She rushed to work, rushed through her meals, and even rushed her conversations with friends. She believed that speed was the key to success, and that slowing down meant falling behind. Her grandmother, Eleanor, lived just a few blocks away in a small cottage with a beautiful garden. Eleanor moved with a slow, deliberate grace that often frustrated Clara. "Grandma, why do you take so long to do everything?" Clara would ask, tapping her foot impatiently as Eleanor carefully watered her roses. Eleanor would just smile. "My dear," she'd say, her voice as soft as a gentle breeze, "there are some things in life you simply cannot rush." The best things, in fact. One sunny afternoon, Clara visited her grandmother, feeling particularly stressed. She had a huge project at work. A deadline was looming, and she felt like she was drowning in a sea of tasks. She burst into Eleanor's living room, talking a mile a minute about all her worries. Eleanor listened patiently, her knitting needles clicking softly. When Clara finally ran out of breath, Eleanor put down her knitting and said, "Clara, come with me." She led Clara out to the garden. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Bees buzzed lazily from one blossom to another. "What do you see?" Eleanor asked. Clara, still thinking about her work, glanced around quickly. "I see flowers, Grandma. Lots of them. They're lovely, but I really don't have time for this." "Look closer," Eleanor insisted. She pointed to a tiny green bud on a rose bush. "Do you see this? I've been watching it every day. I can't force it to bloom faster by pulling on its petals. It needs sun, it needs water, and most importantly, it needs time. If I rush it, I'll only destroy it." Clara looked at the small bud and then at the fully bloomed roses around it. Each one a perfect swirl of color and fragrance. She started to understand. "We young people think we have to achieve everything right now," Clara said softly. "We want the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect life, and we want it yesterday." Eleanor nodded. "Patience, my dear, is a lesson life teaches you whether you want to learn it or not. We wish you knew that it's okay to slow down. The world won't end if you take a moment to just breathe and enjoy where you are right now. In fact, you'll see things you'd miss otherwise." They walked further into the garden, to a sturdy old oak tree at the back. "Your grandfather and I planted this tree as a tiny sapling when we first moved here," Eleanor said, placing her hand on its rough bark. "It took decades to grow this strong. It faced storms and droughts, but its roots grew deeper with every challenge. We didn't see its progress day by day, but over time, it became this magnificent thing." "You're saying that success and strength take time to build," Clara reflected. "Exactly," Eleanor smiled. "And it's not just about big achievements. It's also about people. We wish you knew the value of truly listening. Not just waiting for your turn to speak, but listening to understand. When you're always rushing, you hear words, but you miss the feelings behind them. You miss the little hesitations, the joy in someone's voice, the sadness in their eyes." Clara thought about her rushed phone calls with friends and her quick chats with colleagues. Had she really been listening? Or was she just trying to get through the conversation to move on to the next thing on her to-do list? "Another thing," Eleanor continued, as they sat on a small bench under the oak tree, "is to not be so afraid of making mistakes. We see so many young people paralyzed by the fear of failure, but mistakes are not the end of the world. They are your best teachers. I've made more mistakes than you can imagine. I've burned dinners, said the wrong thing, and made poor choices. But each time I learned something. I learned how to cook better, how to be a kinder person, how to be wiser. Your failures don't define you. How you rise after you fall is what truly matters." Clara looked at her grandmother's wise, wrinkled face. The lines around her eyes and mouth were like a map of a life fully lived, a life of joys and sorrows, successes and mistakes. "And Perhaps the most important thing we wish you knew, Eleanor said, her voice dropping to a whisper, is that things are just things. The new phone, the fancy car, the big house, they are nice, but they will never bring you lasting happiness. It's the people you love. It's the memories you create. It's a walk in the garden on a sunny afternoon. These are the treasures of life. Don't be so busy collecting things that you forget to collect moments. A single tear rolled down Clara's cheek. It wasn't a sad tear. It was a tear of realization, of gratitude. Everything her grandmother said was so simple, yet so profound. We older folks, Eleanor concluded, patting Clara's hand, we've already run the race, you're just beginning. We've learned that the finish line isn't the most important part. It's the journey. It's the people you walk with, the lessons you learn, and the love you share along the way. Don't rush through your beautiful journey, Clara. Savor it. From that day on, Clara made a change. She didn't quit her job or abandon her ambitions, but she started to build moments of slowness into her day. She would wake up a little earlier to savor her coffee without looking at her phone. She would take a few minutes during her lunch break to walk outside and feel the sun on her face. When she talked to her friends, she put everything else aside and truly listened. She started visiting her grandmother not out of duty, but with a genuine desire to spend time with her, to listen to her stories, and to learn from her wisdom. She helped Eleanor in the garden, and instead of feeling impatient, she felt a sense of peace as she watched the slow, steady process of life unfolding. Clara learned that slowing down wasn't about falling behind. It was about catching up with herself. It was about seeing the beauty in the small things, valuing people over possessions, and understanding that patience and perseverance build the strongest foundations. She learned that the wisdom of those who have lived long lives is a gift, a roadmap to a more meaningful and joyful existence. And so, Clara's life, once a frantic race, became a graceful dance. She was still ambitious and successful, but now, her success was measured not just by her achievements, but by the richness of her moments and the depth of her connections. All because she took the time to listen to what the older generation wished she knew. Thank you so much for listening to our story today. I hope it gave you something to think about. What's one piece of wisdom you've learned from an older person in your life? Share it with us in the comments below. We'd love to read them. If you enjoyed this cozy story, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content to help you improve your English. See you in the next video. Bye for now.